Everyone, welcome to Let's Talk Crypto. I'm Brittany, your host, and if you're interested in all things crypto, tech, and finance, then this is the podcast for you. We're going to be exploring all things NFTs and Web3 and explore two platforms that Gerbs has created in order for people to enjoy and learn about the metaverse. I won't give too much away as you're going to find out all about it in just a moment. And before we begin, I'd like to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Talisman. Basically, what they are is they're a crypto web wallet that unlocks a world of multi-chain Web3 applications and allows you self-custody of your assets on over 150 plus Polkadot and Ethereum networks. What's great about Talisman is that there's no network switching, all your assets are in one place, it's secure, fast, and pretty easy to use. So if you've been looking for a crypto web wallet like this, make sure to head over our page at everybithelps.io and check it out. And without further ado, let's get on with the pod. Okay, everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We have our fantastic guest, Gerbs, and we're going to be talking all things NFTs, crypto, and other financial stuff. So I'm just going to jump straight in. Could you please introduce yourself?
Nice. Yeah, I'm Gerbz. I'm a developer and an entrepreneur for a long time, long before crypto. And I've been helping people down the crypto rabbit hole for a long time. I got in cryptos in 2013. And I've just been helping people take custody, understand what the hell is going on, and figure out crypto. I have a podcast called BitLift where I also help people with that.
Oh, fantastic. So many hats. Crypto is a very many hats industry, isn't it?
It is. Well, it's hard to keep track of. So yeah, we need all these things.
So just jumping on the crypto part that you spoke about, how did you start your sort of crypto journey?
In 2013, I was trying to figure out e-commerce. I was on an e-commerce kick. And I couldn't believe that the only way to accept money from my customers was to sign up for these credit card processing systems where I had to send them like all the information about me and connect my bank accounts. And I was trying to sell something for like $9 and I didn't have any customers yet, but I already had to like set up there was all this overhead to getting paid. And I was just like, there must be a better way, right? Like just like literally Googling around, like, how do I get paid on the internet? And I stumbled on Bitcoin just doing that in 2013. And the very first day I read the Bitcoin white paper, it's like you hear that story over and over. But now when people hear about Bitcoin, they don't even read the white paper, which is, we can get into that. But the very first day I read the white paper, I was totally blown away. And I stayed in e-commerce and I started like accepting crypto as payment exclusively. And that was 2013. There was a huge boom in Bitcoin going on at that time. I got in, a little early, but then Bitcoin hit its all-time high at $1,200. And it was like, I was so like captivated by it, everything that was happening. And I've been on the roller coaster ever since.
Oh, that's quite forward thinking, because even when I see establishments taking Bitcoin, crypto, etc. as payment, I'm like, wow, you do that? Like, I find it really quite fascinating. So you were quite ahead of the curve with that.
Yeah, it's funny. Most companies do it today more as like a marketing stunt than actually like wanting to accept it as payment.
Oh, yeah.
But it'll get there. Eventually, everyone will be taking it.
Yeah, I think we'll integrate a lot more. And I think the problem is a lot of people are a little bit not frightened of crypto, but maybe a little bit more averse to it just because there's a lot of, well, especially at the minute with the whole FTX thing going on, that people can panic and then worry that they're going to lose all their money, which is a very real fear, but also with the regular banking industry, that can also be a possibility. But what are your thoughts on the whole FTX Celsius BlockFi? Like, how did you hang on?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard. I've always been an advocate for self-custody. Like when I got into crypto, none of these companies existed. So I had to figure out how to set up a wallet and how to protect my keys properly, all that stuff from day one. And I really wish people, would do that today. And I try to help people understand how important that is. That being said, these centralized custodians and these lenders and whatnot, they do make it very easy for people to get into crypto. Connect your bank, click a button, you just bought some Bitcoin. The problem is that people don't withdraw. Right. So what they don't understand is the Celsiuses and BlockFis of the world, they're lending out your crypto. If you buy it or if you put it there, they're lending it out. And, this is an age old, business practice. Like this is how banks operate. But crypto is so much more volatile than the industries that bankers traditionally lend out to. And I think we're going through some big growing pains of the banking world is clashing with the crypto world and trying to like overlap business models. And crypto was not designed to work this way. You should buy your crypto, hold on to it, take custody of it, and
Hmm.
you don't need to let other people do that for you. And that's where we got caught up in everything that's happened with Celsius, BlockFi, all these guys. It's the same problem over and over. They borrow or they lend out your money, they overexpose themselves, and they get caught, especially when the market starts to turn.
I know, and it's such a shame because crypto is so much about self-custody and owning your own assets and being in control. And then this kind of goes against everything which has made crypto unique. And a few people said that they saw some
Yeah.
warning signs and checked sort of their balance sheets and things. Did you notice any warning signs? Did you think this was inevitable, or did it come quite as a shock to you?
Yeah, I never paid much attention to FTX in particular.
Me
You
too.
couldn't really use it in the US anyway. I was surprised by how huge it got. Um, but it always just seemed like kind of like SBF always seemed like a Wall Street kind of a guy to me. And that didn't really, or more like a Wall Street trader versus like a Wall Street executive, right? And I just never made sense to me. I didn't get caught up in that specifically. So I can't say, these companies are a black box. You can't know what's happening in there. People who said they saw signs, I mean, there may have been a few, but there's also some massive funds and very professional traders that got caught up in this. So I don't think anyone really saw it coming.
No, definitely. And I don't feel experience really has anything to do with whether you got burnt by the FTX crash or not, because I know some very intelligent people who lost quite a lot of money and it's so upsetting for them. But at the same time, I think people take it personally, like, oh, I should have seen this coming. I should have taken out, I should have done this. Whereas, as you said, in the
Yeah.
reality of things, no one can know. There was only one warning sign that I thought, that's a little weird, is that he did an interview with a
Mm.
very big vlogger, and the title was "The Most Generous Man on Earth," and I was like, hmm. Anyone who claims themselves to be like
Yeah,
the most generous man on earth is always a bit of a red flag for me. But that's the
I
only thing,
know.
and that was many years ago. So maybe that's just me being
Yeah, that was like
skeptical.
his own self-branding. What a strange thing to go around saying about yourself.
Suspicious, but yeah,
Yeah.
as we said before, there's no way to know, so no one can beat themselves up about it for sure. Were you affected at all or not? No, not really.
Not by this in particular, but I was pretty big into Luna and UST and Anchor back when that happened. So I definitely learned a lot of lessons. That it relates. It was like the D5 version of it, in some ways. It all came crashing down, and it's funny because we may end up finding out that what happened with Luna and UST was actually caused by SBF and FTX.
Hmm.
Like they may have been the ones that broke the peg on UST and caused all that. So
But where do you
no.
think crypto's kind of going to go from here? Do you think with these semi-corrupt or these corrupt companies kind of being chucked out of the ecosystem, do you think that will give room for like fresh things to come in? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. The crypto markets are very cyclical, and every time we go through these big these wild bull runs and then these deep bear runs, and what happens is we flush all of those bad actors out of the market. They can't operate in a market that's this bearish, which it is unfortunately right now. So where do we go from here? I mean, I believe we go up from here. Like I said, I've played this cycle a few times now. Next will be like my fourth cycle I've been through, and until you've seen it happen over and over, it's really hard to
Hmm.
recognize it. It's like an energy that like comes into the market and then leaves again, and
Yeah.
that energy will be back.
No, I definitely agree. And I feel like that's like the number one thing that can put people off. And I feel that this cycle has come and gone with NFTs because they were very new. Everyone was so
Mm.
excited. The bull run was massive. People were making huge projects and minting out, and then it all kind of died. And then people became very skeptical. And there's quite a lot of diversity surrounding NFTs. And
Yep,
just before we jump into this whole can of worms, because I know you're pretty pretty much an expert on NFTs. Can you explain to our listeners what an NFT is? Because there's a lot
sure.
of variations to this question.
I would never say I'm an expert. I mean, NFTs are new. Like if 3 years ago, the thing hardly existed. So to say
True.
that anyone's an expert at this point, man, I'm
As
far from it.
experts
But I
go.
do, yeah, I love to play around with it. I'm learning a lot about it as we go. But to really understand it, NFT is an acronym for a non-fungible token. And the way to think about it is Bitcoin, for example, is a fungible token. If you have one Bitcoin and I have one Bitcoin, we can swap our Bitcoins and we each still both have one Bitcoin worth the same amount of dollars. A non-fungible token means like if you have one chromie squiggle and I have a chromie squiggle and we swap chromie squiggles, well, they're different. They have different properties about them. They have different values. You can't really swap them. So that's the difference between a non-fungible token and a fungible token like Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Exactly. I think that's the confusion, is people like, it's just an image, like what's the point of it? And it's more so the utility that's attached and the value that it has to the owner. I feel it's so layered. It's not just black and white. This is my picture, right click save, which is always a running joke in the NFT world. So it's a bit of a nerdy.
And I do right click save NFTs all the time. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I've taken a few screenshots in my time.
Exactly.
Do you own any NFTs? I noticed you said a chromie squiggle before.
Yeah, I don't have a chromie squiggle. I've been eyeing a chromie squiggle for a while now. It's going to happen. I do have some NFTs, but I'm not like a big collector or anything. I think a lot of these people who are huge in the NFT space, that they actually come from like the art collecting world, and they know they understood that side of it like immediately. Yeah. And that's the part that I'm still learning a lot about. But with NFTs, I think the biggest misconception, and I think it plays into like what my angle on it is too, is that NFTs are more like they're a new platform for creators to launch and experiment on. And I've always fancied myself a creator in some ways, right? Like I build companies and I build projects, and like I like to create things. And that is what's important about what's happening in the NFT space. It's a new platform for doing all of this. And what type of JPEG is attached to it, it's almost hardly relevant. It's more about like, how are they building community? What are they doing with the NFTs once you have them?
Exactly.
And that's a lot of fun.
Exactly. And that was like my next question for you, is a lot of people just see them as an image. They don't understand the utility behind it. Like, could you explain a little bit how they can be useful, or a project you feel, yes, this utility is fantastic. This could be very useful. I see the value in it.
Sure. I mean, the easiest one. So a type of NFT, for example, is ENS domains. Like we mentioned them for a second. But ENS domain actually is an NFT that you hold in your wallet. So it's this thing, it has like this extra data attached to it. It's unique to you. That name is unique, that you will never, no two ENS domains will ever be the same. And that's an NFT. And people don't even, if you even know what an ENS domain is, you might not realize it's an NFT, but it is. And it shows the power of like, there's a lot more going on under the hood than people think. And you can attach images to it. Like, again, I think the images are cool, but that's not necessarily the point.
We're definitely going to dive into that in a minute, because that was something totally new. And I've been in the NFT world for quite a while now, well, considering as NFTs go. I thought that was amazing, but we'll get on to Threebra and all of the amazing stuff you've been doing with ENS. So for the people who don't know what an ENS is, essentially, as you said, it's an NFT that you can create a personal domain, as it were, so that people can type that in and send you money directly through that.
I was going to say, the Ethereum address is, it's a long string of gibberish, and you can't read it off to someone. So, I hold all my NFTs and people send me money to Gerbz.eth. It's that simple.
Exactly.
And I think
me too.
Crypto has needed something like that.
Yeah, I have that. And it was a very when ENS first started to come out, it was always like a bit of a status symbol. It's like a number plate with a very small number. Like if you had something pretty short and snappy and people were buying up ENS domains and reselling them on, and it was getting insane. That was during the peak of the bull run, I'd say. But I got my ENS domain. Yep. I was very excited. It's hyper.eth.
Nice.
Which, thank you. But the problem is, when you put it as your Twitter handle, people do send you crap. You do get a lot of rubbish. Like the amount of NFTs I've got in my sort of, the wallet that you use when you mint weird things and you don't want to put anything in that wallet. And I'm like, oh my goodness, why is all this attached? But anyway, essentially that's what an ENS domain is, before I keep going.
Yeah, it's fun to look up Vitalik.eth and just see, he gets spammed with thousands and thousands of things all day long. Vitalik.eth just gets totally spammed. You can look at his account on Threebra and just see the random stuff people are sending him. It's kind of wild.
That's so good. Actually, I had a few more questions about NFTs, but I think we'll come back to them, because I'm itching to ask you about Threebra. Can you please explain to us what Threebra is and what you've created? Because I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Threebra is really just the beginning. When the bear market hit, I was so burnt out on DeFi stuff and financial stuff. I just wanted to get back to building something fun. And I've been wanting to dive into Web3 and like, what the hell is Web3? Like, what does it mean? And that's what kind of led me to build Threebra. And I really felt like, you know, ENS domains was really like a foundational piece of, if we're going to build a new internet, we're going to need domain names for that. So it kind of started there, which led me to kind of trying to figure out what is IPFS and how maybe decentralized file storage could work on a new decentralized internet. And I just kind of like mashed all these things together and created Threebra. So Threebra is really just this, it's going to be a social network. Right now, it's just these kind of independent profiles. You can just punch in your ETH domain and it'll pull up your transaction history. It'll show your NFTs. If you have your Twitter account connected to ENS, it'll pull in your tweets and display your tweets kind of like as part of the feed. And it's just like a social profile that shows everything you're doing in Web3, like in crypto. So it's starting there, and then eventually we'll be able to mash those feeds together.
Oh, I feel I've never heard or seen anything like that, because I feel with crypto having an element transparency is what makes it so unique. And I feel that people can not necessarily lie about what they've done, but in the early days when people weren't 100% sure on how to confirm what people had done, you just almost had to take their word for it if you didn't know their address or something. So I think that's an amazing way to verify people and communicate, like, oh, you're on Threebra, can I just check, and you can really verify that it's that person. So I think that's awesome that you've created that. Could you go into a bit about the colors?
And I think
that is insane.
Yeah, the colors is like this. I just had this random insight a long time ago. Being a developer, like I've worked with like HTML. Like when you build websites, you work with what's called CSS. And there's, when you make a color on the internet, it has this code. So like the color black is like all zeros, and the color white is all the letter F. And I realized that an Ethereum address and colors on the internet, they share the same characters. Like A through F and 0 through 9 are the only characters in a color. And they're the only characters in an Ethereum address. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to display an Ethereum address in color? And so I came up with this little algorithm that creates colors out of your Ethereum address. And I call it stripes because it creates these 14 colors that are called stripes. And stripes reminded me of a zebra. And this is Web3, so that's why I called it Threebra.
I love that, and I'm going to be doing that straight after this, because I think what people love about NFTs is it can be personal too, because everyone wants an NFT that looks like them. They're like, does this, like, I don't know, dead fellas like have red hair and like a pink t-shirt? Because I like those things, so I feel that getting your own personalized colors is something that I really hope I see that throughout Web3, because I feel like that's something that could really take off. That'd be awesome.
I know. I could see anybody. I like wrote it as a blog post where like anybody can use this simple algorithm to add color. So any company that knows your Ethereum address could also, or any project could display your stripes and your colors. So I too would hope that we start seeing these colors all over Web3. I think that'd be awesome.
That'd be insane. What kind of future are you hoping for Threebra? Like, what would be like your ideal dream for this to become? Big question there. Thank you. 5-year plan.
When I started it, I really. Yeah. Oh man, that's I don't have a 5-year plan for my life, let alone in crypto.
Me neither. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Oh man, no. But if I did, it would be something like it's the beginnings of like a social network. But really, it's really like a playground for me to play with Web3 and tinker with these new technologies. But the idea of like following other people and being able to see like if there's some NFT collector that you really admire, you could follow their trades and see what NFTs they're collecting, be notified about it when this person like bought something, and you could jump into and like be part of it and really kind of make crypto more social. I think that'd be a lot of fun, and I hope Threebra gets there.
That would be amazing, because I feel that that's one of the weak spots of Web3 is I think the social side is great, but when you're keeping yourself safe on the internet and just trying to confirm who people are, and just there's a lot of amazing things that can be created, but I feel a lot of people are abusing the system a little, and I feel that could be an antidote for it. And do you think this may be why NFTs are so controversial, is because a lot of people hear about the scams and not so much about like things that you're creating, where you're creating more of a social platform and people can really get involved with common interests? And what do you think about essentially the controversy around
the media loves doom and gloom. And so you just see so much doom and gloom around crypto, and because it creates more clicks. And I think also people see the big money around these JPEGs, and it's such like a weird concept to think like there's multi-million-dollar monkeys on JPEGs on the internet. Like I understand how weird that sounds too, but there is so much other cool stuff happening, and it's just the beginning of it.
Oh no, I definitely agree. And I feel, as you were saying, there are like these energy surges and cycles. And what are
Yeah.
your, I know it's absolutely impossible to answer this question, but if you had to take a shot in the dark, what do you think is the next sort of step for NFTs? Where do you think it's going?
I try to think mostly through this lens of like the creators and what are creators going to do with NFTs. This idea that like your Netflix account could be tokenized and held in your wallet, and you could, you know how we give people like access to our passwords to log into Netflix. Well, maybe there'll be like an NFT. You'll hold your Netflix account, and you'll be able to grant people access through your NFT. There's just so much room for innovation in things that you can do with NFTs. It's impossible to guess where it's going to go because creators are going to do whatever they want with it, that's the coolest and best part. And I'm excited to see what they do, just like everyone else is.
Exactly, and I agree. And like, I feel that from a creator's perspective, there is so far that it can go. Like, there's a multitude of angles that this could be taken. And I feel, as you said, it's personal to whoever's decided to take on this sort of NFT journey without sounding too hippy dippy there. But I also feel
Yeah.
NFTs, the utility that they can hold. So, like, from a practical sense, this is going to sound a bit boring, but if you have
Mm.
like a ticket or like a
Yeah.
document, then because it has a code online, then it can really be verified, which I think that is a piece of utility which really will be taken into everyone's day to day, maybe without them realizing. Speaking of sort of like NFTs verification, have you ever been rugged before in the space? Have you ever thought, I'll click on this like weird NFT and then just all hell breaks loose? Has that ever happened, or have you been pretty safe?
Not in that regard. There have been some NFT projects where like the creators disappeared. I learned some good lessons with that. Like people called it a rug, but really like I thought the creators just didn't like the community that was growing around it, and they disappeared, and everyone called it a rug, but really like
Mm-hmm.
they had the NFTs, it was in their wallet. I don't see how that's a rug. I'm really careful with my wallets though. I use a hot wallet for kind of degenning into all this random stuff and connecting to websites that I shouldn't be connecting to. I keep only a tiny bit of Ethereum in that wallet. And then I have a vault where I like, store my valuable JPEGs, so to speak. And I'm very careful about that. So I haven't exactly gotten like hacked or something like that. And you want to be able to experiment, and you need a good way to do that without feeling like you're going to get robbed every time you click a button.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having those separate wallets is really important.
Oh no, definitely. And I feel that that's like not many people who would be new to the industry would know that. It's like that's kind of basic NFT etiquette. It's just to keep yourself safe. Like
No.
prevention is key. Like there's always going to be dangers in any aspect that you do. I just feel NFTs especially get a bad name because finances are involved. But I
Yeah.
think that's an excellent piece of advice for people. So thank you. We're gonna make that probably the key quote of today's episode. Is just like just be
Nice.
careful.
Yeah.
But just we're coming
Please.
up to like the end of the podcast. Is there anything you want to finish on? Anything you want to say?
I like to remind people, a lot of people come into the market during the bull market. Like the bull market attracts new people to it. Everyone joins crypto at the wrong time. I joined at the wrong time in November
Me
2013. We
too.
were at the top, right?
Me
So
too.
everyone joins at the wrong time because that's what attracts people. And that's okay. You learn from that. We go through these cycles. And just to remember that like now is when the money is made. Like when everyone is, thinking that it's the end, this is when you should start dollar cost averaging back in and maybe setting some goals for the next cycle. If there's and a concrete goal, not a money goal, like not a number, maybe like a car or like a house that you want to buy or something very specific that you want. And if and when your portfolio reaches that number, capture it, man. Capture that goal, and you'll never be mad with yourself, even if the market keeps going up or whatever. You'll never be mad that you like accomplished your goal. Like it's hard to get mad about that, and I think that's a healthy way to approach these cycles that we go through.
No, I think that's excellent advice because when you pick a number, you can say, "Oh, I could go higher." But as you're saying, if it's a tangible
Yeah,
goal, then when you hit it, you can be proud of yourself. I think that's brilliant advice to end
Yes.
on. So thank you so, so much. Thank you for your time and all the amazing advice. There's been some real nuggets of golden information in this podcast. But everyone, please make sure to check out Gerbs' channels. I'm going to leave them in the description box down below, and we will see you in the next pod. Thank you, guys.